Did you know that one subtle change in your feet could signal a serious heart condition, or even reveal early nerve damage that might lead to permanent disability? It's unsettling to think that a few small warning signs in your toes or heels can mean the difference between catching a health issue early and letting it progress into something truly dangerous. But many people ignore these signals, chalking them up to just getting older or wear and tear. In reality, your feet can be a window into what's happening deep inside your body. They're often the first area to show distress when vital systems, like your circulation, nerves, or hormones, start to falter. So if you think that strange tingling, sudden swelling, or odd discoloration is no big deal, you might be overlooking a clue that could protect you from serious harm. Stay with me, because in this video, we're exploring 5 ways your feet can warn you about internal damage. And don't miss number 4, because it's one that catches most people off guard and can lead to life-altering consequences if ignored. For years, doctors have noted that foot health often reflects a person's overall condition more accurately than one might imagine. Low-grade infections can reveal immune system problems, changes in skin texture can hint at thyroid issues, and circulatory complications might become apparent in the feet long before they're detected elsewhere. The reason is both simple and profound. Our feet are the farthest point from the heart, so if circulation, nerve function, or metabolic processes aren't going smoothly, the toes and heels often show it first. Sadly, a large portion of adults over 60, and even some in their 40s, only realize their feet have been screaming for help once the damage has become severe. By that point, it might be too late to reverse the problem. That's why it's crucial to pay attention to the everyday signals: an ache, a tingle, a sudden cramp, or a color change that doesn't go away. The frightening part is that these foot warnings don't just indicate a random annoyance. They often connect to your cardiovascular well-being, your kidney function, your blood sugar levels, and your nerve health. So if you've dismissed a weird bump or a patch of numbness, thinking it's just a quirk of aging, you could be putting yourself at risk of far more serious conditions, like peripheral artery disease or advanced diabetes complications. Of course, we're not saying you should panic over every little twinge, but staying informed can mean the difference between a timely visit to your doctor and confronting a diagnosis that's become much tougher to handle. Let's dive into 5 essential signs that your feet might be warning you about internal trouble. First up, persistent swelling. Many people think having slightly swollen ankles at the end of a long day is normal. After all, if you've been on your feet or you ate something salty, a little puffiness can happen. But what if it's more than just a little swelling? What if your ankles or feet regularly blow up, and the swelling doesn't go down overnight? This isn't just a fluid retention inconvenience. It can be a glaring neon sign from your cardiovascular system. Consistent foot and ankle swelling may indicate congestive heart failure, where your heart can't pump blood effectively, leading to fluid pooling in your lower extremities. In other cases, swelling can point to kidney issues, as the body struggles to balance fluids and sodium. If you press a finger into your ankle and the indentation remains, that's pitting edema, a strong indicator that fluid retention is more than a trivial annoyance. Some individuals realize this swelling has creeped into their lives slowly. They notice their shoes feel snug, or they see sock marks carved into their skin by midday. Women might notice that ankles appear thick or that jewelry on the foot, such as an ankle bracelet, doesn't fit the way it once did. Sometimes, it's even accompanied by shortness of breath or fatigue, signs that the heart isn't keeping up its end of the bargain. Rather than dismissing it, it's wise to get a medical evaluation, possibly including an EKG, blood tests, or a kidney function panel, to see if there's a deeper problem lurking. At times, it might be a medication side effect or a more benign cause, but given that swelling can also point to deep vein thrombosis or liver problems, it's better to be safe than sorry. Secondly, let's talk about numbness or tingling in the feet. You might have experienced that pins and needles sensation if you sat too long in one position. Usually, it goes away once you move around. But ongoing numbness in your toes or soles that doesn't vanish when you wiggle or stretch your foot is another story altogether. In particular, chronic numbness can be a red flag for peripheral neuropathy, a condition often tied to diabetes or prediabetes. High blood sugar levels can damage the delicate nerves in the feet over time, leading to a dullness in sensation, like you're walking on a thick sock even when you're barefoot, or random electric-like jolts that come and go without warning. Another possible culprit is vitamin deficiencies, especially B12, which can cause nerve damage if not addressed. In older adults, absorption of certain vitamins naturally declines, so even your everyday diet might not be covering your needs. Neuropathy isn't just an annoyance, it can increase the risk of foot injuries because you might not feel pain as acutely, leading to infections or ulcers that go unnoticed. If you have diabetes, you likely already know to keep an eye on foot sensation, but those who haven't been diagnosed can be caught by surprise. They might only discover their blood sugar issues when a physician checks their feet and notices compromised nerve function. And it's not just diabetes, circulatory diseases like peripheral artery disease can also bring about numbness, as the blood supply to your feet wanes. Either way, consistent numbness isn't something to brush off. It could mean your nerves or blood vessels are under attack by an internal condition you haven't yet identified. Moving on, we have major changes in foot color or temperature. It may sound trivial, but if your feet are frequently cold to the touch, even in warm environments, and never seem to warm up, you could be dealing with a circulation problem. Raynaud's phenomenon, for instance, causes blood vessels and extremities to clamp down when exposed to cold or stress, leading to stark color changes, white, then blue, then red, when the blood flow finally returns. Although Raynaud's can be a standalone condition, it might also accompany autoimmune disorders like lupus or rheumatoid arthritis. Alternatively, consistently cold feet can reflect low thyroid function or advanced peripheral artery disease, where narrowed blood vessels restrict blood flow. On the flip side, if your feet appear red, hot, or swollen, you could be dealing with gout, a form of inflammatory arthritis that can strike suddenly and painfully, often starting in the big toe. Gout flares happen when uric acid levels spike, forming sharp crystals in the joint. The pain can be excruciating, and many people ignore early twinges, chalking it up to a sprain or walking too much. Over time, uncontrolled gout can lead to chronic inflammation, joint damage, and kidney stones. In any case, if your feet suddenly switch colors, or if they alternate from cold and pale to bright and inflamed, do not ignore it. Your cardiovascular system or metabolic health may be waving a red flag. Now, the fourth warning sign is one you do not want to miss: wounds on your feet that don't heal or take a frustratingly long time to get better. This is where things can spiral dangerously if ignored. When a blister or small cut lingers for weeks or reopens repeatedly, it's a huge red alert. Unhealed foot wounds commonly indicate serious vascular or nerve issues. In diabetic patients, for example, high glucose levels can impair blood flow, preventing essential healing factors from reaching the wound site. In addition, nerve damage, neuropathy, might dull the pain that would otherwise signal you to protect the area. Without proper sensation, you keep walking on an injury that would typically make you limp or rest, causing it to worsen. But you don't have to be diabetic for slow healing wounds to be a major concern. Poor circulation linked to peripheral artery disease can also mean wounds on the feet aren't getting the oxygen and nutrients they require. This can lead to infections that spread quickly, sometimes becoming gangrenous if not treated aggressively. In extreme cases, amputations become a risk. It might sound like a horror story, but the sad reality is that advanced circulatory problems often come to light through a seemingly innocuous foot sore that refuses to close. If you or a loved one notices a wound taking forever to heal, that's not a time to experiment with home remedies. Immediate medical consultation can literally make the difference between saving the foot and losing it to an infection. Finally, let's examine chronic dryness, cracking, or flaky skin on the feet. Everyone gets a bit of rough skin once in a while, particularly around the heels. But if you're battling persistent dryness that leads to fissures, especially if moisturizers don't seem to help, you might be looking at a more systemic problem. The thyroid gland is a classic suspect here. Hypothyroidism can reduce your body's ability to replenish the natural oils that keep the skin soft and supple, leading to excessive dryness. Cracked heels are often an early clue, especially if you also notice brittle nails, hair thinning, or unusual fatigue. Beyond thyroid issues, chronic dryness can also indicate certain nutritional deficiencies. Low levels of essential fatty acids or certain vitamins can play a role in the skin's ability to repair and maintain itself. Another angle to consider is peripheral arterial disease. Reduced blood supply can leave the skin parched, less elastic, and prone to cracking, particularly in areas subject to pressure, like the heels and balls of the feet. Once those cracks form, they can be a gateway for bacteria or fungus, leading to infections that thrive in warm, damp environments. If you find yourself plastering on lotions day after day with little improvement, there might be an underlying cause worth investigating. You might be thinking, I've had some of these symptoms, but I haven't paid them much mind. Or maybe you've chalked them up to just getting older. The truth is that feet don't simply break down without cause. Often, they're the harbingers of deeper issues. When you notice swelling, numbness, color changes, slow healing wounds, or persistent dryness and cracking, your body could be shouting for help. And while it's easy to downplay foot problems as cosmetic or as an inconvenience, these signs can reveal your circulatory health, your metabolic stability, your immune function, and so much more. The most urgent message here is that ignoring foot symptoms can allow a hidden condition to grow worse. People end up at the doctor's office with advanced complications, ulcers, infections, or dangerously clogged arteries, wishing they'd taken a minor foot concern more seriously months or even years prior. That's what makes number 4 so critical. A persistent foot wound can turn into something that impacts not just your mobility, but your entire quality of life. Early detection truly is a lifesaver. So if you've been watching, recognizing 1, 2, or even 3 of these warnings in yourself or a loved one, consider this a friendly but firm wake-up call. Don't let inertia or embarrassment keep you from reaching out to a professional. A podiatrist can be a fantastic starting point, as they're specialized in foot and ankle issues and can also flag potential systemic causes. Your primary care physician may order blood tests to check glucose levels, thyroid function, or kidney markers. They may also investigate your heart health if swelling suggests a deeper concern. The key is to act sooner rather than later. Because it all boils down to this: your feet are an early detection system for deeper damage. They bear the weight of your entire body, literally and figuratively, day in and day out. When something is amiss in your circulation, your nerves, or your metabolic processes, you can bet your feet will feel the brunt of it. By the time you're dealing with advanced symptoms like open wounds that never heal or dramatic, persistent swelling, the path to recovery can be long and fraught with risks. On the other hand, if you tune into these subtle foot signals early on, you stand a far better chance of nipping major problems in the bud, or preventing them altogether. So pay attention to the small things: the texture of your soles, the color of your toes, and how your feet feel when you first step out of bed in the morning. Those small details can be the difference between catching a health risk early or watching it spiral into something far harder to manage. If you suspect something's off, don't convince yourself it's just age or that it'll go away with time. Reach out to a healthcare professional, share what you've noticed, and discuss possible next steps. That brings us to the conclusion: your feet are more than just a pair of functional limbs. They're a diagnostic powerhouse hidden in plain sight. They can reveal warning signs of heart problems, kidney trouble, nerve damage, and more. If you're noticing any of the 5 signals we discussed: recurring swelling, unexplained numbness, unusual color shifts, stubborn wounds that won't heal, or severe dryness and cracking, you owe it to yourself to get them checked. Whether you're in your 30s, 60s, or 90s, these issues matter because they relate to your fundamental well-being. Now, here's your invitation to join the conversation. Have you ever experienced a sudden foot-related symptom that turned out to be something more serious? Or maybe you know someone who ignored a foot problem and later discovered it was a big deal. Share your story in the comments below. You never know who you might help by speaking up. And if you found this video helpful, consider subscribing and turning on notifications, because we have more content coming your way that can help you protect your health, stay active, and make informed decisions about your body. Finally, if you want to learn more about what your feet might be trying to tell you, like the subtle signs of nutrient deficiencies or unexpected triggers for nerve pain, check out our next video. Your feet carry you through life. It's time to give them the attention they deserve.